Good morning to everyone. It's so wonderful to see such a full crowd, and good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests. It's such a pleasure to be with you all today. Mr. Minister, it's great to have you here. Thanks to you, Minister Prabowo. Thank you to the Defense Ministry. And thank you to the Indonesian government. This is a multilateral gathering, this is a multinational gathering, but we decided to start in this fashion to honor our bilateral relationship within this multilateral relationship, to honor our host country, and to with the U.S. Air Force Band, honor the country that's visiting. But with the presidential band here, that's a special treat for us to start in this manner. Thank you for those joining us in person, and for the thousands tuning in virtually as we kick off day 2 of the Atlantic Council inaugural Globe Food Security Forum in Bali, Indonesia, an official sideline event of the G20 summit, which is, of course, coming in just a couple of days. What a stunning venue this is, surrounded by Bali's natural beauty, rich cultural life, and traditions, and friends and partners from across Indonesia and the world. I was able to travel a little bit around this beautiful Bali area to get to know your culture a little bit better, to visit with your people a little bit more, and it's just been rich experience being here a few days ahead of this forum so that I could acquaint myself even more closely with this extraordinary country and culture. I want to start by extending my thanks officially to the Indonesian government. Thank you again to Minister Prabowo and the Ministry of Defense. Thanks as well to Minister Luhut and the coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investment for your collaboration and for your hospitality in the lead up to and throughout the forum. Congratulations to Indonesia for assuming the G20 presidency this year, and we wish you good luck as the summit approaches. I most profoundly want to thank the Gaurav and Sharon Srivastava Foundation. Thank you, Gaurav and Sharon. Without the two of you, without your foundation, we quite literally would not be here and be able to do this work. Gaurav and Sharon, your steadfast commitment to combating world hunger and food insecurity rests at the heart of this forum's mission. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate your vision, your leadership, and your friendship. Thank you also to our sponsors, Apt Associates, Arsari Group, EMP, and Harvest Commodities, and our media partners, CNN Indonesia and Compass Group. And finally, I want to acknowledge the Atlantic Council Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security, so capably led by Matt Koenig and his team for spearheading this weekend's programming, and of course the rest of the Atlantic Council team that's traveled so far to make this work. We gather today at a critical juncture for global food security. It might have taken Putin's war in Ukraine to highlight it for us, but it was sitting there in front of us in any case. Later this week, world leaders will convene here in Bali for the G20 summit, bringing together major developed countries and emerging economies to discuss the international economic and financial landscape and identify areas ripe for multilateral engagement. Food security is becoming a bigger and bigger one of those areas, and it cannot be separated from energy security. It can't be separated from military security. It can't be separated from national or international security, and that's the point of doing this. The United States is a food security champion. The United States is the largest international food assistance donor in the world, providing hunger relief and support to those most in need, including in response to COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine. In September, the U.S. convened a global food security summit with world leaders to mobilize global food security action. This is all for good reason. Threats to global food production, supply chains, distribution, and access are mounting by the day. Near-term shocks like COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine have rattled global food supply chains in some of the most critical regions of the world. Ukraine, Europe's breadbasket, earlier this year faced a Russian blockade of its Black Sea ports that halted grain exports to global detriment. And we're lucky that that blockade is not there any longer, because 1/3 of the world's wheat supply, 1/3 of the wheat supply comes from Russia and Ukraine together. In recent months, fertilizer prices have skyrocketed as the cost of raw materials and gas have gone up, and Russian fertilizer exports face serious disruptions. Food prices have continued to soar. Long-term risks of climate change, extreme weather, rising seas, and sustained conflict pose further destabilizing threats as acute food insecurity escalates and hunger hotspots intensify. The United Nations estimates that 800 million new people in the world face food insecurity coming out of the ripples from the war in Ukraine, and 300 are in severe distress of food insecurity and hunger. 300 million new. But amid these challenges, opportunities abound for progress and solutions, and that's what we're here for. Yesterday, as part of our first day of programming, we convened a series of closed-door sessions with global food security experts from across government, business, and civil society to explore immediate and future food security trends and solutions, most of all solutions. We discussed the nexus between food security, energy security, and hard security, and how solutions are needed to address the overlapping vulnerabilities on these fronts. Energy crises become food crises. Conflict drives food insecurity. Food then becomes a weapon of war. We stressed how important it was for the global community to recognize that food cannot be weaponized the way it has been, the way it has been recently. We discussed leveraging technologies as a critical tool for agricultural modernization and resilience. From investing in climate-smart tech enterprises to educating and empowering young, tech-savvy farmers to make farming cool, paying particular attention to including women who are often the backbone of farming communities. The future of food security and sustainability requires innovation. And we spoke of streamlining access and accountability to food finance to ensure lines of credit flow to countries and people in need. Food security requires financial security at both the community and at the global level. As the G20 showcases, there is potential for enhanced international cooperation, but governments and on these critical sets of issues cannot do it alone. Achieving food security and ending world hunger will also require robust public-private partnerships, and wide-ranging innovation across the agricultural sector, technology, finance, and policy. So from identifying root causes of food insecurity and malnourishment around the world, to envisioning more resilient food chains, food supply chains, and agricultural technologies of tomorrow, we gather today to take this multifaceted challenge head on. And as you can hear, we made some progress yesterday. We're going to hope to make even more progress today. Indonesia, with its dynamism, with its growing prosperity, and its food security interests, is a promising place to launch our efforts. I hope you find today's programming productive and that it will serve to inform and supplement the upcoming G20 summit agenda and sustained food security initiatives to follow. At the end of this forum, we will be distilling insights from our sessions and collecting them into a memo with concrete recommendations for G20 leaders and, of course, for far beyond. We'll stick with this issue, galvanized by this moment, to continue working on it over the years. Our challenge to all of you here in the room, is to help us identify solutions that together can turn our ideas into policy action. So now I would like to turn to a set of video keynote remarks from the Honorable Chuck Schumer, United States Senator from New York and Senate Majority Leader. It's an honor that Senator Schumer took time for this, having the Senate Majority Leader speak to this conference is an apt way to kick us off.
Hi, everyone. It's Senator Chuck Schumer. And thank you all so much for the chance to join you at this year's Atlantic Council Global Food Security Forum. Now, as we all know, the past 2.5 years have been some of the most disruptive in modern history. A global pandemic, a warming planet, and on top of it all, the tragic, bloody war in Ukraine. These crises have produced terrible consequences around the world, and above all, it's made an awful food shortage even worse for tens of millions of people. The poor, the elderly, far too many children. This global food crisis is unacceptable, it's immoral, and it is on all of us to work together to find solutions for the hungry and the food insecure. As Senate Majority Leader, I believe Congress has to play a role in fighting this crisis. And the issue should transcend partisan politics because it's about basic justice for all human beings. So we need government leaders, the private sector, and advocates working together. I pledge to you to do all I can to make sure Congress stands with you as allies in this effort. Thanks for leading this crucial conversation, because no issue is more important than making sure everyone has enough to eat so each person can grow and thrive in the 21st century. Thank you all. Thanks for what you're doing, and my very best.
The fact that Senator Schumer sent that special message to you in the middle of our midterm elections where it was unclear whether he would remain Senate Majority Leader, and right now it's still in play, and we'll know in a few days, but it looks better for him than it did a couple of weeks ago. So Senator Schumer, from here, we thank you for doing this. Now I'd like to turn over to Gaurav Srivastava, the founder of the Gaurav and Sharon Srivastava Family Foundation, for his remarks. Gaurav, over to you.